Hello again, everyone. Edwin Learnard back once again in this YouTube astrological segment. I'm going to be talking about something a little bit unique and hypothetical, scenario. It's going to be about what if the sun had the ability to go retrograde. Now, as most of you know, the sun and the moon, those two planets, they never go retrograde. And the thing is, this is a video about, the hypothetical case. If the sun were to go retrograde, if this was we were in a world where it actually did this, how would it impact, the person and their natal astrology chart? And I'm going to talk about that. And the thing is, first off, there seems to, I would say there could be a correlation between the sun never going retrograde and the fact that the zodiac sign Leo may be one that often doesn't go back, on their word, and because the sun does rule Leo, and it's interesting that being a fixed sign, of course, as well, that plays a role in that with Leo, and the moon never going retrograde, the moon governing Cancer, the zodiac sign Cancer, and Cancer can actually be very loyal and dedicated and devoted, though not a fixed sign. The Cancer, may be one that often does not go back on their word and can be very loyal as well. And I found that interesting. But first off, well, the thing about this is, the sun in astrology is connected with our drive and our motivation. So if the sun had actually, had any ability to go retrograde or what have you, if it ever did, the drive and motivation may be more, derived from within, I would say, as opposed to being expressed outwardly. I mean, let's say, if the sun was in the zodiac sign Capricorn, and the sun had been retrograde. Well, it could be where the person, their drive and motivation may come from wanting success, some kind of recognition. It could be wanting to achieve a certain point in one's career, achieve greater social stature in life, matters with responsibilities, and even a position of authority. But it may come, it may be more internal motivation as opposed to relying or being dependent on external, motivation, and it would come more from within. And also, the sun in astrology is connected with our actions, so the actions may be more indirect because retrograde energy can be indirect. And let's say if somebody had their sun in Aries, well, that could be where, and Aries is known to be, aggressive and assertive, but the thing is, and even confrontational. Now, if somebody had the sun retrograde in Aries, it might be where somebody, you see the person be walking by someone, as an example, and just kind of nick the other person, holding a bar or something, as opposed to directly doing something, make it look like it's an accident, as opposed to actually, being purposeful, as an example. And the thing about, this too is that I would say too, if the sun were retrograde in the chart, you would have the person may emphasize more review prior to actions. And let's say if the person had as their sun in Pisces, those actions may be tied into rescuing, matters with sacrifice, helping, those less fortunate, which can include the hungry, the impoverished, oppressed, and the homeless. And it could be where, more, let's say somebody's going to rescue somebody from a flood. There may be more contemplation, more thinking prior to actually doing so. And the thing is, now, the sun astrology, it's also associated with our life, and I would say, our life direction. So if somebody had the sun was retrograde in somebody's chart, let's say, if they had the sun in Aquarius retrograde, well, there may be some issues or more, debating. There might be certain ambivalence in connection with, what direction life may go in those Possibilities with the sun in Aquarius could include something with innovation or astronomy, astrology, computers, electronics, aviation, meteorology. There are more, maybe a little bit more, there might be more contemplation. There may be some delay in the matters pertaining to one's life direction that one may go on. And another thing too, with with the sun or retrograde, I mean, keep in mind the sun is connected with the basic fundamental character of the person. And the thing about this is that side may be more suppressed than otherwise indicated in the chart. Now, the thing is, most people have a different ascendant. So the ascendant, is going to generally, it's going to dominate, the outer demeanor and how one comes across to others. And it can hide the sun to some degree. But if you have the sun, retrograde, and the person has a different ascendant, then that basic character, that true self, may be even more hidden. The qualities may be even more suppressed than otherwise indicated. Let's say if the person, had their sun in Leo, and it was retrograde, those dignified, gregarious, extroverted, flamboyant, sunny, those confident energy and characteristics may be held back, to some degree. And the thing about this too is that the sun in astrology is connected with our basic wants. So the fact that somebody had their sun, the sun was actually retrograde, and excuse me, and the person had their sun in the zodiac sign Cancer, well, those basic wants, maybe that were delayed, maybe tied into home, family, getting safety, security, things connected with nostalgia, history. It might even be doing something, some business connected with plumbing or laundry, as some examples. And the thing about the sun as well, it's also about how to, where, person, in shining, and how, or, what the person may shine in, stand out in. And the thing is, let's say if the sun was retrograde in Taurus, well, person may have a harder time trying to shine, so to speak, in just, matters that are connected with, monetary matters that require some kind of persistence or endurance, or maybe in some Taurus related field, whether it can be doing some kind of work or activity connected to being a pawnbroker, something with geology, architecture, something associated with working as a stockbroker, gardening, farming, things of that nature. And also too, the sun in astrology is also associated with our focus and what we put our attention on. So, let's say that, somebody, had their, sun, it can be more introspective. So let's say if somebody had their sun in Gemini, as an example, and it was retrograde, there may be more focus, on the, the characteristics, the basic character, and more, contemplation, thinking more about it. It can be, it could be where, the person, may, sun in Gemini, may dissipate the self through lack of an integrating purpose, but it may be that focus may be more on that quality in oneself, as opposed to thinking more, focusing on, actual actions, as an example, or, focusing on, what, direction one may go in. It may be that focus may be more inward and maybe more on, matters pertaining to the true self, more so if the sun hadn't been retrograde. And just thought it'd be, something to, talk about, something interesting that I don't really hear about. Never really heard about, as far as a hypothetical would go, as the sun being retrograde. So it'd be something, something new, you need to talk about. So anyway, people, that'll conclude this YouTube astrological segment. Until next time, Edwin Learnard saying, stay well.